system, the Ripple founder had to say a little bit earlier, if you could just take a listen.
The SEC is kind of playing offense and attacking the whole industry. This is not a healthy way to regulate an industry.
Now, Chair Gensler, I'm pretty sure you might say, well, look, a founder in that sort of business might be saying this. But
Caroline, there's nothing incompatible crypto and our securities laws.
Central bank digital currencies are coming and they're going to steal your money. During times of political and economic uncertainty, central banks like to print more money in order to stimulate the economy.
The litigation is fully briefed in front of the federal court, and we do expect a decision certainly in 2023. The question is in the first half.
I think one thing to tell people is things move very slowly in Washington, and so sometimes you can...
Bitcoin is the world's first cryptocurrency, and it works because of the world's first public blockchain network.
Ryan, go ahead.
Proof of work doesn't work. Proof of work doesn't work. It's been widely...
Ryan, proof of work doesn't work.
Let me finish.
No,
proof of work doesn't work.
Finish, please.
Know what you hold?
On-demand liquidity. Where was Gary Gensler?
Enjoy the ride, pal.
If you got some bags, welcome to the party. Welcome back to some more 1 o'clock news. No breakfast, no coffee, just straight extra. Bullishness. Shout out to the latest sub, Kevin in the building. Appreciate you stopping by. Stuffing some bags. Go ahead. Throw on those moon suits and those pilot shades. Buckle up. Because the future's extra. Bullish. And let's go full speed, full throttle into the cryptoverse. We got the total global cryptocurrency market cap today at 1.07 trillion, down about 0.4% in the past 24 hours. We got XRP here in the number 6 spot, right around 37-38 cents, up about 2.4 in the past 24. Stellar XLM right around 0.084, down about 0.4 in the past 24. We got BTC right around 22,337, ETH right around 16 hundo. We got Flare Networks here 0.037, and we got Songbird 0.0089, up about 0.9 in the past 24. XRP Darren Fay Moore, slithering snake Gensler response to Big Brad Garnet House's claim that the SEC is regulating by enforcement.
What one particular builder in the ecosystem, the Ripple founder, had to say a little bit earlier, if you could just take a listen.
The SEC is kind of playing offense and attacking the whole industry. This is not a healthy way to regulate an industry. Your regulation through enforcement, as opposed to what we're seeing in other countries where they're doing the work, right? They're codifying, they're creating a framework that allows an industry to grow while protecting consumers. And I think that's really what the US is lagging.
Now, Chair Gensler, I'm pretty sure you might say, well, look, a founder in that sort of business might be saying this, but what about some of these players? We've spoken to many who have perhaps been part of previous administrations who are now, advisors to some of these companies and worried a little bit about the holistic nature of really trying to regulate and worried that it is more about enforcement rather than the rules of the road at the moment.
Caroline, there's nothing incompatible crypto and our securities laws. Our securities laws were brought about to protect the investing public against fraud and schemes and manipulation. And it was through this idea of full, fair, and truthful disclosure, registering with the SEC when you're raising money from the public and the public's anticipating a profit. It's pretty straightforward, actually common sense approach to helping the public in investing. So this broad field, we have one goal at the SEC is for them to come into compliance, whether it's the tokens, that's basically people raising money or offering these tokens. And it's also what I'll call the storefronts, but they can call themselves crypto exchanges or lending or staking as a service or other intermediaries to come into compliance and ensure that they don't mislead the public, but also that they don't commingle the funds, they don't take the public's funds and do things we just don't allow in our financial markets. We don't allow the New York Stock Exchange to also play with the customer's funds and make markets, run a hedge fund, run a dealer, be in the clearing business. We separate out those conflicts.
What about FTX, Gary? Even though you had multiple meetings with FTX, you're playing with customers' funds, you let FTX collapse. It's still the bags. Ripple says that the Supreme Court case favors its fair notice defense in the XRP lawsuit. Tom Emmer says an unelected bureaucrat stating a willingness to trade your rights to a financial privacy for a surveillance-style U.S. CBDC. A CBDC isn't money, it's a digital voucher that will keep you enslaved.
Central bank digital currencies are coming and they're going to steal your money. During times of political and economic uncertainty, central banks like to print more money in order to stimulate the economy. Of course, it pushes us deeper into inflation. But anyway, we could get to a point where central banks say, in order to stimulate the economy, we're actually going to need money to change hands. And so if you don't spend at least 50% of what you have in the bank account in the next 3 months, let's say, then that money is going to expire. And yes, they can do this because that money sitting in your bank account is going to be a central bank digital currency. Like I said, this isn't money. It's a digital voucher. The central bank and the government can decide how you spend it and when it expires. And so if your money expires, which it's going to do, you're not going to be able to build long-lasting generational wealth, which means you're going to be forever a slave to the 9-to-5 system.
Brad Garlinghouse says that the SEC's suit against his crypto payment company, Ripple, is going to be pivotal for the whole industry and that he expects a decision on the case this year, 2023. Everything changes.
It's been about almost 2.5 years since that litigation began. We have tried to move it forward as quickly as we possibly could. The litigation is fully briefed in front of the federal court, and we do expect a decision certainly in 2023. The question is, in the first half, the nature of that is the judge, we don't get to control that. I think it's clear that the judge involved here is aware of how seminal this issue is and how important this case is.
Gary, you still there? U.S. SEC staff opposes Gary Gensler's crypto outlook. Good sign for XRP lawsuit. Amicus Curiae in the XRP lawsuit claim that the commission's staff lawyers do not want to litigate all these lawsuits. Digital Asset Investor says, I think that the Ripple test has been a Supreme Court threat from Ripple from the beginning of the case. Gary needs a win, and I don't think he can get one if it goes all the way. He wants that treasury job. I still say settlement, even if the settlement's after judgment. Jeremy Hogan says, strong because it comes from the U.S. Supreme Court and states that regular-ish people like you and me need to have guidance and know what the laws and rules are before we are sued. Tony Edwards, Hester Pierce talks about Gary Gensler and the other SEC commissioners have discussed her safe harbor proposal for the crypto markets.
The other folks at the SEC are not biting. I don't know for what reason. Have you guys talked about your safe harbor proposal? Are they trying to add to it or remove from it? What's the dynamic there?
Well, look, I mean, rather than talking about the individual conversations I've had, I think one thing to tell people is things move very slowly in Washington. And so sometimes an idea can be put out there and it takes years before someone grabs that idea and says, hey, why don't we take this safe harbor idea and craft a registration scheme for token offerings that is really fit for purpose, that really gives people who are buying those tokens the information they would want to have when they're buying that token, which is what the safe harbor tried to do. Now, I think if people here at the SEC were to take a look at that, there might be areas where they'd say, yeah, let's tweak this, let's add this disclosure requirement here. So I'm still hopeful that it can form the base for a tailor-made disclosure framework. And again, people will push back on that because they'll say, well, the SEC has these securities laws that have worked so well for all these years. What do you need to do? Why are you trying to fiddle around with them and create bespoke disclosure regimes? But I think the point is that Congress also gave us the ability to create exemptions, for example, to create tailored disclosure regimes. We've done it in the past, and there's no reason that we shouldn't do it here. And so that's what I'm holding out hope that the safe harbor, which my colleagues certainly know about, that they'll be able to think about building on that to create a good disclosure regime.
Cryptic poet, governments wouldn't bother trying to stifle the growth of cryptocurrencies if they didn't see them as a real threat. It's clear that the crypto has the potential to shake up the status quo and challenges the established systems, power, and control. No more middleman. It's time to level the playing fields. Greatest Bitcoin explanation of all time.
What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is the world's first cryptocurrency, and it works because of the world's first public blockchain network. What does Bitcoin do? It's simple. It lets you send and receive value to and from anyone in the world using nothing more than a computer and an internet connection. Now, why is it revolutionary? Because unlike every other tool for sending money, over the internet. It works without the need to trust a middleman. The lack of any corporation in between means that Bitcoin is the world's first public digital payments infrastructure. And by public, I simply mean available to all and not owned by any single entity.
Bitcoin was just a test. Get ready for the new standard, XRP. Brian Zagone, Ripple Director of Regulatory Regulations, November 2014, July 2019. Proof of work doesn't work. Get ready for XRP.
You might still use proof of work.
Great. But I invite Ryan and Desiree, I don't know if you would like to comment on this as well. Ryan, go ahead.
Proof of work doesn't work. Proof of work doesn't work. It's been widely...
Ryan, proof of work's been working.
Let me finish.
Proof
of work doesn't work.
Let him finish, please.
And in the early days of Bitcoin, there was a whole group of developers that broke off to create other assets, XRP being one of them, that doesn't use mining, that's cheaper from an energy perspective than Visa, and already scales to 1,500 transactions a second. A lot of these problems have already been solved. The challenge for adoption comes back to policy. The policy uncertainty around some of the assets has limited adoption, particularly here in the US. And I'm speaking from Ripple and XRP because we use that asset because it's a half a cent per payment. It's basically free. It scales and it's efficient. 1,500 transactions a second at nearly no energy burn. So we're at a point today where there are real solutions to all of these challenges that already exist. Policy has become the challenge. And we heard on the first panel that around centralization on China, and this is going to be a hard pill for Peter to swallow. 80% of the mining power for Bitcoin is controlled by 6 mining pools, 5 of which are in China. Today, the policy certainty in the US exists for Bitcoin and Ethereum, despite the fact those are China-controlled platforms. So activity goes to those platforms. What we need to do from a policy perspective in the US is look at the places where there are uncertainty. And one place I'm speaking directly for me here is XRP, where it looks like Bitcoin. It's decentralized, it's open source. We have with 7% of the validation power on that, rather small in there. Grouping or giving clarity to those ones that are very similar to Bitcoin and Ethereum, that have the same characteristics and should be classified the same way. And then we're creating a level playing field across all the cryptos. I'm not anti-Bitcoin or anti-Ethereum by any means. I think there's a lot of great potential and breakthrough there. But we need to have a level playing field so the market can pick which ones they want to use and not be, as today they are, hindered by regulatory uncertainty.
You can just hear the Bitcoin maxis panicking. XRP, the superior technology. It's no wonder the SEC had to come in and help BTC and ETH, because XRP is the far superior, faster, cheaper, more efficient, no more middlemen, no heavily controlled miners. XRP just works, built for business, built for payments. Know what you hold? RippleX BAI API enables businesses to remain AML compliant by providing AI-powered behavior-based intelligence that connects cryptocurrency wallets and transactions to real-world entities. Descent Wallet says important. Descent does not own either any customer service, chat center, or any other account called Descent Wallet support. We only reach out to you by email, contact@iostrust.kr, official Twitter accounts, nothing else. Descent Wallets and Descent Wallets_KR. Descent Wallet's your best wallet and the most safe and safe hardware wallet for XRP, XDC, XLM, Songbird, Blair. Throw those bags offline into your own self-custody storage before the corrupt SEC comes after those bags. XRP on the log scale, we're still within the falling wedge. 2013-2017, however, is very similar to the 2018 present timeframe. In 2017, before we rocketed, XRP crashed to that 0.786 fib. Will it happen again before we reach the $8, $20 range? Also from JD, XRP versus BTC, we're now bouncing off the 0.786 Fibonacci non-log scale, but still within the falling wedge. If we break this pattern on the weekly close, XRP will rocket. If we reject the top wedge, be prepared to retest the bottom of the wedge. XRP versus BTC. With that being said, Bitcoin's big drop occurred at the 1 a.m. UTC, but traders didn't show serious concerns until 12 hours later. Now that they have BTC's social dominance has hit a 2-week high, generally more discussion for the #1 asset is necessary for the crypto turnaround. With that being said, Bagman and Bag Ladies, you can see all the corruption clearly in the SEC, stifling American innovation, still no regulations, trying to give some more time for BTC and ETH to catch up to the party. But XRP clearly hidden in plain sight, no upgrades needed. The superior technology, we got Joe Cats, we got the evidence. Get those jumpsuits, get those gel cells ready. The longer they take, the higher we climb. On that XRP rich list, I am the XRP Bagman, the Moon Commander, currently up here on the mothership, stuffing some bags and enjoying the show. Appreciate you stopping by, tuning in, smashing those likes for some more Moon O'Clock news. Hope y'all continue to stay extra bullish out there. Continue holding those good vibes. Remember to sell the FUD, buy up that bag. Don't forget to spread that liquid love. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to drop a subscribe, drop a comment down below. All the OG diamond hands out there, drop a comment down below, drop an elbow on that like button from the top floor. Catch you up here on the mothership for the moon party. BYOB, be your own bank. Peace out, crypto goes.
Clock ticking, ticking like tick-tock, moon suit. We about to lift off, tick-tock. Got you looking at your wristwatch. Don't hip-hop, cause we about to moonshot. Bag stuff to the tip-top. Not much time left on the clock, going tick-tock. Got my bags packed and my keys locked. Headed for the moonshot, you not ready in this moon o'clock. Look at me as we boosting off. I told you so, now we at the top. Champagne pouring, pop the top. I double